Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to Honest About the Irish, brought to you by yours truly, B-Man is Mad. Of course, who else would it be? You know what? Look, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? Not about the Irish, not yet. About my stupidity. And how a typical male that I am. And how we forget things. And this tailgating trip, this adventure to South Bend. Okay, before we get into the game and all that, let's go over my story first. Okay, I've been excited about going to South Bend and going to Notre Dame the last month and a half for this game. I've been planning on it. You know, I thought I had everything put together. I thought I had all the right stuff, all the right food. You know, I did. I had it in the fridge. There's a tailgating tent that I should have ordered months ago over the summer when I planned on going to this game. This over the summer. That I wanted to go to a game this year, and I should have got a tailgating tent for weather conditions like we had on Saturday and all week because it was cloudy and dreary. But we'll get into that as well. But however, the most important thing I talked to you guys about a couple videos ago was that I was going to make my famous chorizo queso cheese dip. As disgusting as that sounds, I've made it before. I love it. You mix it with refried beans. Look, it's probably not even possible. It's probably not even called queso dip. I know it sounds ridiculous. You guys are probably saying, well, B-Man, you better get your toilet paper out. But you know what? It's delicious, guys. I love it. And the night before, I grabbed all the beer. The night before, we grabbed all the food. The night before, I got all excited. And you know what? I was debating on if I should get a tailgating tent, something that I should have taken care of over the summer when it was in season. When you use these tents for other things, for like lemonade sales, etc. during the summer, you get my hand. It's a tent. You use it to stay out of the sun or to get dry. But no, I decided at the last minute, Friday night when Menards was still open, not to get the tent, and I paid for it. So as Saturday morning came, minus the tent, I had the beer, I had the other liquor, I had a couple pops, I had bottled water. You know, always stay hydrated when you're drinking. And I grabbed the bratwurst, I grabbed the 2 different types of cheese, I even grabbed a cheese ball, I even grabbed the shredded cheese, the block of cheese. But you know what, folks? There's 2 important things that I forgot. And I forgot the square cheese. I don't even know what you call it. Do you call it hamburger cheese or just square cheese? You don't put a block cheese on a hamburger, but I had to because my dumbass forgot the square cheese. And guess what else I forgot? Yes, you didn't hear me say it. I forgot the most important thing, chorizo. So I was fucking livid. Excuse my language. I know that I'm not supposed to cuss on here because of YouTube rules, but whatever, no one's listening anyways. But anyways, I forgot the goddamn chorizo. And I was procrastinating, and probably didn't even say that right either, about the tent, and I didn't have a tent. So minus the chorizo that my dumbass forgot, minus the square cheese, hamburger cheese, that my dumbass forgot, and of course, the tent. On the way there, it was raining. On the way there, it was drizzling. It wasn't supposed to rain. They said after 4 o'clock in the morning, South Bend time, or 5 o'clock in the morning, South Bend time, there was only a 10% chance of rain. But on the way to South Bend through LaPorte, Porter, Michigan City, it was raining pretty decent. And it was wet and it was damp. So I was cussing. I was pissed off. And I was like, here we go. I forgot the stupid tent. I'm going to get wet. I won't be able to watch the TV because, I brought my 32-inch TV. And by the way, I'll get into that because I broke it. Not from the water. Not what you think. But, so I decided I better call a couple Menards and see if there's any tents around. We called 3 different Menards. One in Michigan City, one in South Bend, and I believe the one in Mishawaka, which is a neighboring town to South Bend, and they were all sold out. Probably out of season because B-Man's dumbass did not get a tent when he should have. Typical male, right? So we get there after I'm mad. I think my day is going to be ruined. It stopped drizzling. It stopped raining, so it was dry. But the ground was wet. It was soaked. There was mud. I mean, the porta potties were full of water. And I'm not complaining about Notre Dame. I mean, their cheap asses should get concrete lots anyways. It's all grass. I mean, come on. They built a $400 million renovation to their stadium. You tell me you can't concrete all your parking lots? But anyways, and put in some nice bathrooms. But anyways, the porta potties were disgusting. They were wet. They were swamped. And other than that, it was a pretty good experience, minus the tent, minus the chorizo. So we ended up making cheeseburgers and wasting the bratwurst. The bratwursts are okay. They're up in the refrigerator right now. We kept the cooler cool with ice, and we put the block cheese on there, extra sharp cheddar, and it just doesn't taste the same with the hamburger square cheese. So you know what? We compromised, and that's all that matters. And you know what? I relaxed. I pulled out my cigar, and I actually cut it right because I always seem to miscut my cigars, and the paper rolls off because B-Man can't do anything right. P-Man sucks, folks. So if I had a couple beers, I had a couple Pacificos, and you know what? I've said before, I try not to watch Michigan games because I hate Michigan, but the Michigan State-Michigan game was on. I heard it was close, so I flipped over to it. All these people across the tailgating lot we were in on Whitefield came over. There was like 10 different people came over and watched the game with us. There's a cool Michigan fan, actually. He was pretty decent. He's not like most Michigan fans. He was actually pretty cool dude. He was actually a Cubs fan, too, and I said, dude, you are worse than food poisoning. You are a Cubs-Michigan fan. But that's okay. The guy was pretty decent. He was pretty cool. But the thing that really got me, and that's okay, I'm not complaining. After the game was over, after Michigan State came back and beat Michigan, and I was screaming, running around my truck, happy with my beer in the hand, with a cigar in my mouth, they all left. They all left me. I wasn't cool anymore. Story of my life, V-Man isn't cool. But then it started raining, started getting a little drizzly, so I started rushing myself to put the TV away because I thought the TV was going to get wet because my dumb ass did not get a tent. And this wouldn't have been a problem in the first place. But I was rushing to get the TV out. And then what did I do? I bent the cord that goes into the splitter that goes into the TV, and I ripped the splitter out and ruined the TV. Now, the TV I bought refurbished for like 50 or 60 bucks a couple years ago. It's a cheap 32-inch Vizio. But the point is, folks, is B-Man screws up everything. But that wasn't going to ruin the rest of my day. That wasn't going to ruin my trip to South Bend, even though I forgot the block cheese, or excuse me, the square cheese, even though I forgot the tent, and most importantly, I forgot the damn chorizo, and I broke my $50 or $60 TV, whatever it was, and everybody left me after the game, even though they were pretty cool. That Michigan fan was pretty cool. And I met some nice people out of Iowa, and actually one of them subscribed to my channel, which my plan was to get more subscribers, but I only got one. And speaking of subscribers, I gave this guy my ketchup, okay? He wanted to borrow my ketchup. He was a couple spots down. He goes, yeah, man, I'll give you a beer. I'll give you some shots. I say, no, just subscribe to my channel, get your friends. That guy didn't subscribe to me. The guy was a fraud, so he got free ketchup because of my dumbass. Should have charged the guy like 10 bucks. But other than that, the trip was great. I got a little tipsy. I quit drinking about an hour before the game because I didn't want to be one of those fans that's screaming, drunk during the game. But it was a fun experience. I love going to Notre Dame games. It's better than going to, I'd rather go to a game like Saturday when it's like early September, late August, when it's like 96 degrees and there's no breeze in that stadium. Those are brutal. I've been to a couple games like that. Texas A&M back in 2001 or 2002, the heat index was 98 degrees in that sun. It was terrible. On the field, it was like 105. I'll never go to a game that hot again. But getting a little rain on you, a little wind, a little chilly air, 52 degrees isn't that bad. But moral of the story, if you guys ever go tailgating in the fall in the Midwest or Mideast, whatever you call it, the North, Northeast, Northwest, get a tent, especially if there's a chance of rain. Even though they say if it's not going to rain, these suckers, meteorologists, get paid, and they're always wrong, it seems like. But I digress about the tailgating experience and my mishaps, because I always screw up at everything that I do, folks. And that's fine, because it's funny. I made people laugh. It's all it matters. And I made a couple friends for about 20 minutes, and they all left. But I digress about that, and let's get into the game. And Notre Dame was victorious over North Carolina by the final score, of course. Notre Dame 44, North Carolina 34. Now, I'm not really going to get into the game all much. I got a video here for you guys clipped together. Now, I wanted to put more together, but some of the videos on my phone won't download. That's another mishap I had. It was just a bad day up until the Michigan game when they lost, and I was able to get settled in and drink some beers and get loose and smoke my cigar. But unfortunately, one of the mishaps was that some of the videos are missing from my phone that I took. So it's only about a 6 or 7 minute clip there, I think. Maybe even less than that with some background music. I'll show it to you guys my trip to South Bend. But you know what? Notre Dame did improve 7-1. Now, like I said, I don't want to get into the game too much. I did not have notes with me. Normally, I write all my notes down when I'm going to say blah, blah, blah. It's kind of hard to do that at a game when you're elbow to elbow with people because it's over 77,000 people. So I didn't want to sit there and take notes like a dork and annoy the person next to me thinking, like, who does this guy think he is? So I had to do most of this in my head, but I wrote some stats down that I got off the internet. And as you can see them on the screen there, Jack Cohen, 16 for 24, 213 yards, a touchdown. Kyron Williams, the star of the game, 22 carries, 199 yards, and a touchdown, especially that crazy 91 touchdown run. I thought the stadium would be louder for that, but they really weren't. That's another thing. The stadium wasn't really that loud. Notre Dame fans need to get into the game more. And it seemed like he had more yards than 199 yards. I mean, he seemed like he had over 250 yards. The guy was crazy. Like, Kyron Williams is one of the most underrated backs in the country. I think he's a top 5 running back. Hell, if he continues to do what he's doing, he might even be a Heisman candidate. So as crazy as that sound. And I noticed something, that the offensive line is getting better each game. At the beginning of the year, they've come a long way. The offensive line was terrible. Cohen was getting sacked. There was no rhythm. Even Williams wasn't able to get his feet down and get some traction and run the ball. And it just looked like it was going to be a long year, but Notre Dame found ways to win. The offensive line found ways to produce, and they've been getting better and better since that USC game. Cohen is getting confidence. That's great. That's what they need. I criticized him all year, saying that he was not in the right system. But again, Saturday night, he looked very productive. He would have had more yards. He would have had more success, but a couple of the receivers dropped the ball. That's another thing that Notre Dame needs to work on, is handling the ball better. There was at least 4 or 5 drop passes that could have been caught. Even one of them could have been a touchdown, wide open. I think it was Austin Jr. He was wide open. The defender was at least 5 yards behind him. He would have been gone for a touchdown, but the ball went right through his hands and slipped. And it was unfortunate because Jack Cohen is getting some confidence. That's what he needs after the rough start that he had. Of course, Tyler Buckner was in there as well. Now, the one thing I am a little annoyed about, and I noticed during the game and last week's game against USC, is Notre Dame's defense tackling has been completely terrible. The last 3 games, they have been awful. That quarterback for North Carolina, I counted at least 7 times where there was at least 4 missed tackles on those plays, on each plays. I mean, 7 times 4, I don't even know what that is, but that's a lot of missed tackles, because I was terrible at math, and I'm not going to do the equation for you here on my podcast. But I know that's over 10 missed tackles, and there was terrible tackling in that game. So it seems like Notre Dame's offense is getting better. The offensive line is getting better, but the defense is taking a step back, and they're giving up a lot of yards. They're giving up a lot of space, and they're, the missed tackling, excuse me, I didn't mean to bump the mic there. The missed tackling has been atrocious. It's been terrible. They need to work on that. I was screaming. I almost lost my voice Saturday night because of the missed tacklings. I don't want to see Notre Dame in these close games, because this game was close. Notre Dame should have won by more. Let's get into that. At the end of the game there, Brian Kelly got a little conservative. Tommy Reese got a little conservative. They should have been up by 17 points at one point at the end of the game there, but they settled for a field goal. And actually, it would have been 2 touchdowns, not 17 points. It still would have been 2 scores. But they settled for the field goal and went up by 10, 44-33. It was like a minute, 10 seconds left, and I was screaming. It was a first and goal situation. I know they were trying to run the clock out. I know they were trying to win the game and get out of there, but they settled for a field goal. But I was saying that if they could kick the field goal and North Carolina blocks it and runs in for a touchdown, they're up by 4 with less than a minute, because at that time Notre Dame was up by, the game would have been tied because Notre Dame was up by a touchdown, and we would have probably went into overtime. I think Brian Kelly should have been more aggressive there, Tommy Reese as well, and went up by 2 touchdowns instead of a 10-point lead. The game would have been over right there, because North Carolina still had a little bit of a chance there. The ball ran out. It was intentionally grounding, and it took 10 seconds off the clock. There was 6 seconds left. So the defense not tackling, Brian Kelly's play calling, Tommy Reese's play calling left me scratching my head and not understanding, why can't you just put the foot on the neck and end the game right there instead of making it a little interesting? Because there's a possibility for everything where North Carolina could have blocked that field goal, and we've seen it all year. There's been crazy plays in college football, and the game could have been tied in overtime, and you never know what's going to happen in overtime. So that's basically the only criticism I have, but you know what? It is what it is. Notre Dame improves to 7-1, and their next game is this Saturday against Navy. And that is all I have today, folks. I hope you enjoy the adventure I had in South Bend. It's not very long. I apologize for the mishap. There's some missing videos on my phone. It was not a good first hour there, but I settled down, like I said, loosened up with the beer, got a little happy, got a little smiley, made some friends for about 10 minutes, and it was all back to reality. But I hope you guys enjoy. I'll talk to you guys next week when Notre Dame takes on Navy. And as always, go Irish. Take care.